How to have better communication at work. Have you ever come out of a meeting going, man, nobody even listened to me in that meeting? Or maybe had a conversation with a coworker where all they wanted to do was talk, and you didn't want to listen. Or maybe you have a child that came to talk to you about something and you just really struggled with what they were trying to say. All of those kind of situations are playing out in our lives on a regular basis. And they're having an impact on our ability to be effective in our homes and at work. As humans, we all want to be respected. We want to be listened to. We want to know that we're heard. And communication is a critical part of that. But unfortunately, as we're going through our lives, we're not the best communicators. We're not the best speakers, and we're not necessarily the best listeners. So today we're going to talk about some tips that can help you to become a better communicator at work and at home. Today we're also going to share with you some secrets that can help you navigate this thing that we call life and increase the level of effectiveness in all of your relationships. Hi, I'm David Graff, and for over 20 years I've been using this instrument that I'm going to be sharing with you today to help me be a better communicator and make an impact positively in all the relationships in my life. And I hope that through this experience you can also learn and have a great impact in your personal and professional lives. So as we go through this, I'm going to introduce you to each of the 4 temperaments and the specific communication styles for each, so that we can have a better understanding of how to communicate in what we call color, so that we are more interested in ensuring that we can communicate effectively than efficiently. So as we look at the temperament, Orange Temperament, we have a little cheat card here that we provide that helps us to understand that if I want to communicate with an orange, some of the things that are important is to be confident and to be bold. Talk about the past with them. What's happened in their lives? What are the things that they've done? Talk in concrete terms. Being able to be very, very clear about what's happening. Be interested and energetic about who they are and what's happening in their lives. Be honest. Be direct. That's probably the most important thing you can do as you're trying to communicate with someone that has an orange temperament, is just being honest and upfront with them and direct. And they'll do the same with you. And so in that, then we start eliminating some of the challenges that we have in misunderstanding someone with an orange temperament. Second temperament we have is the blue temperament. A little bit different, have a little bit different approach from a blue perspective. The way that you can be effective in working with somebody with the blue temperament is to be genuine and be sincere. Don't fake it. As you listen to them, really listen to them. You know, an interesting story, I had a leader once that said, I'm a really good listener. And I said, how do you know? He says, because when people come to my office, I can keep working at the same time I can listen to the person that's there. And I hear what they're saying, and I just really have this thing down. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Do you really feel that the people feel like they're listened to when you're not even looking at them? See, that's the blue temperament. They really need to know that you're engaged with them. A lot of eye contact is important as you're working with someone with the blue temperament. Focus on people and events. Don't focus on things. Don't focus on the projects. Focus on people and events as it pertains to the projects. Listen intently. Give them all of your attention. That's critical if you want to establish a relationship with blues and build trust. The green temperament. What are some of the keys to helping me to understand how to communicate well with someone that has a green temperament? First, talk about the possibilities. They're the dreamers. They're the visionaries. They're out there thinking about things that I don't even think about. I was on an airplane years ago, and as I was reading this article, and they're talking about that they send a spaceship out into space that 150 years from now, they're going to give us back data about what's happening in space. And in my mind, I'm like going, who's going to be around 150 years from now? But who does care about that is the green temperament. They're the ones that are really reaching out there. And so you need to listen and understand that that's how they're seeing the world. You need to expect skepticism. They just don't jump right in. They ask a lot of questions. And so you need to understand, and I understand, that they're asking questions not to question what I'm trying to do, but they're actually asking questions because they really want to know why we're doing it. You need to allow that time for them to ask questions. And then you need to give them time to think. I was in another leadership team working with this leadership group, and the boss always came in at the weekly meeting and had something new to make a decision on. And inevitably he would say, here's what we're going to do. And he'd go around the table, are you in? Are you in? Are you in? And then he would get to the one individual that had a high green temperament, and inevitably that person would say, no, I'm not in. And it wasn't because he wasn't in, it was because he didn't get time to think about his answer. He didn't get time to do the research that he wanted to do. So almost inevitably all the time, he just opted out until I was able to talk to that leader and say, you're not giving him enough time to process. He's probably the one person that can give you the best answer if you really are interested in hearing his answer. And so that's the green. And the last temperament then, as far as communication and how you really can be effective, is the gold temperament. And to communicate best with the gold temperament, keep structure around, keep it involved, appreciate their time. Waste a gold's time, you've destroyed the confidence that they would have in you. So don't waste their time. Stay on task. As you talk about things, talk about expectations, talk about deadlines. Those are the kinds of things that golds really value. Follow through with what you say you're going to do. The gold temperament never says something that they don't intend to do. And some of the other temperaments don't necessarily operate that way. Again, and so now we're having possibly some impacts because we're communicating in our way and they're listening in their way. So if you're curious about this, I do have a free assessment down below that you can take, but let's keep going and let's wrap this up. One of the things that we found is the reason why we don't communicate as well as we could, why I don't really listen to the folks that I'm trying to communicate to or I'm talking at, is again because of that element of time. And so one of the tools or one of the ideas that we want to present to you today is this. If you want to increase your ability to be a good communicator, then slow down. In every instance, we've got to be able to slow down, we've got to be able to pause, we've got to be able to understand what it is we're trying to communicate and what is the best way to communicate this story. We all live in this fast-paced world. When I send out emails now, I literally try to assess who's the person I'm sending this email to, and I try to write that email in a way that they would appreciate it. If I'm writing an email to an individual that has a green temperament, it'll be almost in the subject line, I tell them everything they need to know. And then I put down in the body all the other information that they can get to if they needed to. In a blue email, I'll start off with, how are you today? How's life going? How's work? How are you handling? And so I'm able to take this idea of these different temperaments and accommodate the communication styles of those that I'm trying to communicate to. Because in the end, I really do want to communicate effectively. And sometimes when I'm communicating the way that I like to communicate, it doesn't necessarily go as well as I'd like it to go. Sometimes understanding this idea of temperament could be pretty overwhelming. So if you'd like to have a simplified approach to really trying to focus in on how to communicate better, click below for a copy of our PDF that will clearly identify the 4 temperaments and the best communication styles with each of those temperaments. And as you learn to be a better communicator, you will join us on our journey to put the human back into humanity.